What up, what up? Zach Bradshaw, long-winded guy, back here around my damn bedtime, trying to redraw my lines and lay in my, I don't know, trading biases for, I don't know, whatever the next period of time that it takes to play out the range that we're in right now. Just need to do this. It's probably going to be sloppy because I'm just forcing myself to do this while I should be going to sleep, but whatever. It's money at stake and gains that have been made that I don't want to lose. So March 1st, this account was at 1901.02, and right now it's about $100 above that. And I want to lock in that profit. I have locked in that profit. I want to detail how some of that happened, and then I want to um, set up for my next batch of trades or whatever. So, looking just at my Bitcoin order book right now. Sorry to show you how much money I have in this account. I know it's kind of tacky, but whatever. Um, Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm really just trying to learn this stuff. So, um, I have a bunch of buys down here that were after I had moved an appropriate amount into my hodl position so that it wasn't messing up. Dude, stop. So that it wasn't messing up my thinking about my different trades. Now, once that was sold, I think I was close to being like not having hardly anything in, maybe a little bit of Ethereum, probably like 15% of my account, of about 1900 bucks, and then a very, very small amount of balancer that was kind of bought on accident, but I'm waiting to see how it plays out. So might get into that chart even right now, depending on how long it takes me to get through this. So my main trades that I had right here was buying, I don't know, at about 52,000 and below, and then sold out all of it above 55K. So right now we're sitting at 53, 58. I sold up in here. But like my last buy was probably like right here, somewhere in this area, or on a breakout. Somewhere in here was probably my last buy. My other buys were here, and you see that the first one from this trade being initiated was at 49 too. So if I just come over here to the chart and I look at, let's just say 52K up to where I sold, nice little 6%. Let me go ahead and snatch that over the course of 3 days at the most. Right, my largest buy was at 49K. Right, it doesn't really look that good when you look at this last sell here, but that is trading, right? So 49K, bought some of these dips slash breakouts depending on how they were playing out at different percentages that you can kind of match with the first buy to see how large they were in comparison, and then eventually stop buying as we went into the areas of selling. At a certain point, while we're between these two horizontals right here, this became my stop loss, right? If it would have come back down below 54, then these cells would have been lower than 55, but ended up making it up to 55, which was the upper part of my zone. And actually, if you'll notice, I sold like just above this line and then also on this line because this was another area of interest to me, based on, I don't know, probably something stupid, but I basically duplicated this line right here and then played around with it. You see I have another one here, right? That's extra long. But duplicated this line and then looked at some horizontals that made sense and kind of chose an area, probably based on something like that, or run it on back, something like that. I'm not quite sure how I had it. You saw it on the chart before I start, or as I started this video, but it ended up coming up and tapping that, and I sold as it went up to it and then above it, because really I put more stake in the horizontals, and you see it looks like the close is respecting that, but it did go up to that diagonal, and so I was able to get my 6 or 7% trade on the basis of that. Let's see if I can rewind, not mess up. Okay, so you see where I had it. Now, I'm not quite sure why I had it there, to be honest, but it was probably on a different chart to be honest. So um, now with that trade, if I would have sold out all crypto positions at that moment when I sold my Bitcoin out on this highest one, this account would actually be at 22.2, sitting in all US dollars and with no risk on the board. Instead of selling everything, though, I moved part of my stack into Ethereum, and am still watching and playing on these trades here. So Bitcoin, there's potential for me to get back in above or below certain areas, and so before I leave this chart, I might as well come in here and we got 12-hour. This is a 12-hour just starting, so this does not matter like that. Let's see what the 4-hour looks like. Ugh. Okay, so for the sake of me going to sleep right now, I'm going to go ahead and put in some very soft horizontals here, based on this 12-hour candle that has just started, right? It's 9:51, and this candle started at 7 o'clock, and it's a 12-hour candle, so it's going to go to next 7 o'clock, and so no telling what it could look like by the time it actually closes and prints itself for eternity. But I'm going to go ahead and lay in those levels, and it makes sense. I've already put in alerts for them. Otherwise, on the 4-hour chart, I will probably go ahead and put this little level in right here as well. Maybe I could draw some other ones like this and maybe this one, whatever. But for now, because I'm out of Bitcoin, other than my right on, I'm not in any specific Bitcoin trades right now. I will go ahead and leave it as is and leave these as tentative as well, because really like this line might be more important over long term. All right, looks like it's holding down this price action here. Closes above and below on a pivot point. Closing below means more downside. Interesting pivot, but we're going to go ahead and leave that one out as well, because I just don't want to clutter my chart. This chart already looks like crap. So look at all these alerts. It's just ridiculous. So I'll leave the Bitcoin chart and move on to Ethereum. Now, with Ethereum, I'm not sure, like I'm expecting Bitcoin to play out some sort of cup and handle on the 12-hour. I think Ethereum is going to do something slightly different. It's going to be like the same thing but sloppier, however it plays out. But I think that right? Ethereum came up to a similar line to that other one. It's actually the same line from this price action here. And I expected it to sell off of it. Um, for some reason, I don't know what exactly my logic here, but I did not sell it in the same way. But instead, I've been buying over here on Ethereum. It probably has something to do with this chart where, based on where it was at, I thought it made more sense to go ahead and, while I was selling Bitcoin, buy a little bit of Ethereum while it plays out potentially this range. I've now bought on the bottom side of this line, potentially expecting it to play out up to here, potentially test the 144 12-hour moving average or whatever. We shall see what happens exactly with this chart. Now, that is one crazy looking moving average. I bet that's a misprint. Now, with Ethereum, I probably have like a stop loss somewhere in here just to make sure that I'm staying close to my 2K and can be like back in cash depending on how that happens. This will probably be my stop loss before I go to bed. They'll probably do something whack and stop me out like they did, I don't know, somewhere recently. I feel like it was on a 1 hour chart. I made the wrong decision on a 1 hour chart. Maybe I set a stop loss here. They stopped me out and then ran the price up. Um, couldn't have been on Bitcoin. Must have been on Ethereum. Let's go look. Oh, somewhere in 16s. Yep, that's where it was. Buying in here. Wait, no, not that one. Buying in the all throughout the 16 region after a long, got some lower buys in here, down here at 1450 after they stopped me out, right? I think I needed to make a stopped out video back here around this 1300 area just to document how that happened, but I failed to do it, and going back and trying to do that now does not make any sense. So starting at 1400, bought up into the 1600s, then end up basically selling out a large portion of that here at 1600, which is really around lots of my buys, but it was probably just locking in the profit from here, taking a small loss on essentially trading fees to Coinbase on these little buys and the sell here. And then, buys down here in the 1700s, up into the 1800s, all around this price action that we're at right now. And I'm not quite sure, like, every time I look at the Ethereum chart, I'm like, oh, this looks like crap. This one on the 12-hour actually, to me, looks a little bit better for short-term upside than the Bitcoin chart. Not totally sure why I feel that way. Probably because this has gone up so steeply that there's a lot of room for it to come down and base up, which kind of means, or kind of makes me feel like it won't do that. Might play this range out a while until it breaks through this. It could take all the way to here, which if it does, could mean that it does come back down into here, these lower levels, before moving up higher. No telling which direction this is going to go. It could bounce directly off of this, put in a hammer candle right here, and go ahead and tap this before I wake up, or tap this and break to new all-time highs before I wake up. No telling exactly how this will play out, but by setting in these levels, I'm able to play based on the probabilities of the different things. So I've bought some small buys in and around this area. Um, when I wake up and I see how this 12-hour candle finishes, we'll probably be waking up before 7, and I don't know if I'll be looking at the charts, but probably. We'll certainly look at the charts before 8 o'clock so I can see how this 12-hour candle looks, and the potential 4-hour and daily and things like that below it. But based on this 12-hour candle that I really like, or this 12-hour chart that I really like to trade based on. I'll probably even look at the crosses of the stochastics and see whether I might also want to go ahead and get out of Ethereum in the same way that I have out of Bitcoin. Now, one thing that I want to do here is to change some of the ways that my lines are constructed to kind of make them make a little bit more sense to me. I'm actually going to put more emphasis on this line now and move it down to that wick, which still looks pretty good to me here. I could maybe put a secondary line, a thin one here, but I'm not going to because I really want this one to hold, especially, the closes. Now, I could maybe put something here, here. Not really worth it. Liking everything I'm seeing just about. Let me move that down just a little. And that's it for now. These are the main areas that I want to make sure that I'm paying close attention to as things stand. Let's tone those down a little bit. Let's see how these things stand, and maybe it looks like this level might need to be increased and not decreased in the way that I just did it. But for my trading style, I feel like that makes a good amount of sense. So moving on to Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Again, these moving averages are doing something crazy, and while I'm at it, let's go ahead and save this one and save this one. And then in terms of looking at this one, I'm just going to go ahead and reload this one to see if those moving averages are telling me the right thing. So looks like they are, and they're telling me something crazy that I cannot fully interpret, but they are really flattened off in a very severe way, which may indicate some sort of geometrical algorithm produced symmetry between this area and this area that is causing this flat line. But whatever, I don't really care too much what the robot traders and other super sophisticated traders are doing. I care about my positions and how they may play out. So in getting out of Bitcoin and then buying a little bit of Ethereum, I was able to get in positions close to the bottom of this range, and I'll be curious to see how these play out through the end of the story, and see whether any of these support levels go ahead and get broken between the old money, new money, or whatever that is involved in, these magical internet money charts or whatever, as Crown would say. So let me know if you have any questions about this one, Henry, Tucker, Mama, anybody else who wants to listen to me ramble about, these specific charts. Sorry I didn't get to the altcoins. It is altcoin season right now, and I think there's definitely some money to be made, but I will have to be able to set ample time aside to be able to give those the justice that they are due. So let me know if you have any questions. See you in the next one. Peace.